This is a short video introducing the 12 basic principles of animation. They were first explained and introduced by the animators Ollie Johnson and Frank Thomas in their book The Illusion of Life Disney Animation. At the time of release, both animators were working for Disney and they used previous animators' work from the 1930s and onwards to help convey these complex ideas. So it's crucial when creating an animation to follow these steps to help the end product feel more fluid, realistic, and lifelike. The first principle we're going to explain is squash and stretch, and it explains the animation of an object will change based on its volume and what it's made out of. When an object moves, it will get longer as it falls, and then flatter when it bounces or collides with another object. By adding this, it helps the animation feel more fluid and real. The next is anticipation, and it's used to prepare the viewer of the animation for the action that's about to happen. It helps introduce and place emphasis on the emotion. Adding this to an animation not only helps the action feel more fluid and alive, but it also adds character to whatever is being animated. The next is staging, and it is how you as an animator present your work to make sure all your animations and emotions are displayed perfectly and clear to the audience. When animating, you want to make sure you remain in control of what your audience is viewing and what their attention is drawn to. The next is straight ahead and pose to pose. So these are two methods of animation that make it more efficient for you. So the first is straight ahead, where you start at the beginning of your sequence and you set one pose. Then you set another pose a few frames in front, and another pose a few more keyframes along your timeline until basically you get to the end shot, animating as you go. The benefit of this is using it for unpredictable animations such as clouds of dust or fire. We have pose to pose as well, and this has been referred to as organized keyframing, where you, when completing your animation, instead of setting many poses on the frames, you set the main key poses across your animation, later filling in the gaps to see how you get to that main pose. Benefit of this, it gives you more control over your actions. It saves you a lot of work as you can catch problems early on. The next is follow through and overlapping. So it refers to a part of the animation that drags behind the principal object, taking more time to complete the action. It can bounce back and forth once the object has stopped moving. So a good thing to remember is that not all your animation needs to stop all at once. Other parts can still swing back and forth after initial momentum has been lost. The next one is slow in and slow out, and it's used to move an object across the screen. It will start with slow movements and build with momentum during the animation, but as it comes to an end, it will also finish slowly. Another simpler way of explaining this would be ease in and ease out of an action, with the middle keyframe displaying the fastest movements. If you miss this crucial principle, when the movement then looks less believable and less lifelike. So the next one is arcs. Arcs that help to create movement and make them feel more natural. Everything in the real world moves with a curve, and rather than moving in a straight line. So for example, when a ball bounces across the screen, it does not fall in a straight angled line. It falls with a curve and bounces back with a curve. If an animator made the ball fall on a straight angle, it would look unnatural, so arcs help the movement feel more fluid and appealing to the audience. Number 8 is the secondary action, and it's defined as the gestures that support the main action by adding more dimension to the animation. It is a result of the main action, and it is an added effect that enhances the primary action. So for example, you can see that the legs move in this bottom animation, but once you add the arms, it becomes more realistic and more dynamic. So the next is timing. And the principle of timing refers to the number of frames or different drawings in a single action. By adding more drawings and various keyframes, the animation will slow down and run for a longer time. But on the reverse side, if there are fewer drawings in between the extremes of keyframes, the drawing will appear sped up or faster and take less time to complete. Timing is crucial to the emotional character's personality. It allows the animator to be more expressive with each character. The next is exaggeration, and this is the principle that asks the animator to push and expand on a character or an idea to further convey the emotional movement they're trying to get across. By expanding on the initial idea, it helps the end product feel more powerful, more convincing. The next is solid drawing, and solid drawing helps an animator draw a character with the knowledge of three-dimensional drawing. It enables the product to feel more real and three-dimensional. The animator will utilize volume, weight, and balance to achieve this. Finally, it enables the animator to be able to draw a figure from all different angles. The last principle is appeal. So when starting your animation and character design, every animator needs to consider how they design and create their characters. Appeal is exactly that. You need to make sure that you consider how they look and are viewed by the audience. Not only do drawings need to be good looking, but they also need to be interesting to viewers. Keep your characters varied when designing them, and also be careful not to overload characters with too much detail. Keep them simple and easy to look at for your audience. So the principles were introduced by Johnson and Thomas to help guide future animators in their practice. When creating or working on any projects or animation, these principles need to be in the forefront of an animator's mind to enable them to create the smoothest and most realistic animations they possibly can. If a key step has been missed, then the audience will be left with a product that doesn't look in the way in which they expect it to, and it will appear unnatural and far from lifelike.